This is going to be the first of 2 videos on planting and propagating pinks. What we are going to do now is we'll see how we plant a pinguicula or a butterwort. So first of all, usually they arrive packed in little zip bags. I know the camera is not too good, but you, I think, more or less get to see what it is. So zip bag, these plants, they have all the moisture they need inside the zip bag for at least a week, if not more. Like 2 weeks, I would say, is totally safe that they travel like this. They are very brittle, so they should never travel in a pot with soil, which is pretty heavy soil for them. Anyways, yeah, so in a zip bag, zip bags get put usually in a box, maybe some bubble wrap, maybe not, depending how many plants you order. Okay, anyways, so what you do, first of course, plants arrive marked always, so it's really smart to mark also your collection. What I do is I just use, you see, like pots like for yogurt or something. It's good enough plastic, it lasts for a few years. You need a marker that's water and UV resistant. Just of course cut this up, write what you have. Really practical, like you can just do like this and you have all the papers in a nice roll. So anyways, we leave this for later. Let's get back to the plant. So I said the plants are really brittle. I suggest you use something like this, some forceps, or forceps are the best actually. So get into the bag. Be very, 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 very gentle. Okay, this one is bigger, maybe we can shake it out. No, you see, because butterworts, they have these sticky leaves. Some leaves are detached. Leave these for later, we will do something with them too. I picked one that was a bit bigger plant and some small ones and some detached leaves, precisely so I can show you all the stuff that you can do actually and how to do it. Okay, stuck inside. So this is the smaller plant. Okay, let's get the bigger one out now. Don't pull it strong, don't grab it strong, you will damage it. See, this is what I mean. The leaves on Pinguiculas, they really love to fall off, but actually that's a good thing. So this one also here, let's get it out. Okay, another thing I did with this pincers is, I don't know if you can see it, I filed the point, so there is no grooves here. Usually they have grooves, but for grabbing any sort of plant, for, I don't know, microscopy or here actually, you don't want the grooves. Grooves, you can see them down here. Up here they were filed off, so when I grab something, and of course, like, you need to learn this, you need to be really gentle, but you don't really damage the plant tissue that much. Okay, so we have the bigger plant, the smaller plant, and the leaves. What do we do? This one is big enough to be handled, like even to hold it. The roots on the Pinguiculas are really hair-like. They're not actually that brittle and they grow back pretty well, so the plants actually can endure quite a lot of stuff. They're not like, I don't know, pygmy sundews or something where you can't transplant them. They're really hardy, just, as I say, brittle. So it's going to be 2 plants, so I'll plant one, let's say here, and one here, so each one has enough space to grow. If it's a plant that is bigger, plant it in a bigger pot. I mean, for some species, like, it's good to start maybe with a smaller pot and work your way to a bigger one. But with these guys, I mean, whatever you do, it will be fine. Just for me personally, I just plant them sort of in the pots. I think I will keep them like in the collection, just so I have less work later, because there's quite a lot of these plants. Okay, this one, remove the this is some moss that they were growing in from the substrate where the plantlets were growing. Okay, maybe, I don't know if you can see this, maybe get these tiny little leaves out gently. No, okay, this one, so they're not really curled in if they don't need to be, like this. But as I say, just be gentle, don't smash it up a lot, it will be fine. Okay, you see the substrates. Let's have a word about that. So substrate, Pinguiculas don't grow in peat, they don't grow in organic substrates. These plants in nature, they cling to rocks. So they are epilithic plants. Epi, on, lithos, rock. So plants that live on rocks. They are on rocks that are wet all the time, or most of the time, next to streams or any sort of like water, or just really wet areas or something. So they're not your typical carnivore. If your typical carnivore is a sundew, or I don't know, a Venus flytrap or a Sarracenia or something, they are a little bit different. So their soil will be usually heavier. You can also grow them on rocks. I'll show you this later when I move the camera. What I use, I'm trying with a lot of substrates to see what works best for me, but a little bit of peat goes inside, just so that it sort of keeps the moisture, let's say, in reserve, in case in summer I'm just a little bit late watering them or something. But most of the stuff is, in this case, perlite. So this is really heavy, not heavy, it's really light stuff. It floats on water. Maybe you can see here, this stuff is floating. This is perlite. The muddy stuff you see here is also inside. This is just quartz sand, like building sand, ordinary one. So this, then you can have, let me find one, you can have quartz rocks. Also building material, basically, like rocks you could put into your aquarium, for example, like bigger, smaller, maybe from this size to maybe something like this. This is all good stuff. These Mexican Pinguiculas, because like Pinguiculas, obviously, you can find them all over. Even here in Slovenia, we have 2 species growing in the wild. And they would live actually, yes, sure, of course, like in bogs, but one species, at least, like you find them literally on limestone rocks. So limestone, usually the killer of all the carnivores or big nemesis, they don't like limestone, calcium that comes from it. But these guys, Pinguiculas in general, either they don't mind it that much or actually grow on it. So even if you would add like calcium, some sort of calcium sand inside, it would be fine. Even some of them might grow better. Even other rocks. So the actual pH of the substrate is not that of a big deal, as long as, and this is the crucial part, the substrate wicks water. It needs to be airy. That's why all the big parts, you see, like there's all sorts of pores going in between the substrate. It's not like I don't know, soil or peat or something where like it's all closed. No, this is really open, really airy. There is no stagnant water inside. I mean, it is water in a pot, but air goes in. There's no anaerobic environment. They don't like that. If you grow them on peat, a lot of times, a lot of species, they will just rot their roots. You might still have the plants because they can take some of the water in through their leaves, but they won't grow good roots, or maybe no roots at all, or maybe roots will be growing and just rotting at the same time. So definitely some sort of substrate like this, mineral based, we would say. Yeah, okay. So now what we need to do, we have these 3 leaves here. Let's remember them for a little bit later. Let's finish with this. So if you remember our tag, put the tag, and the plant is ready to be put wherever you want it. Also with Pinguiculas, butterworts, some of them, talking about Mexican ones now, some of them need to be standing in water in summer and totally cactus dry basically in winter. And the others just want drier substrate in winter. So you can just grow the whole collection together, as many of them you have, but make sure that you read about which species go like completely dormant, that form this pseudobulb below the ground. Like for example, I don't know, like Moctezuma would be something like this. It just dies down to this little bulb, and it needs to be like super dry over winter. Medusina is also like this. And then you have some species that need to have a bit of moisture, or they keep their leaves but they need to be dry. So make sure basically you read what your plant will do over winter naturally, and what you need to do to make it feel okay. Because like if it's too wet, it might rot, it might not grow very well. I mean, they're really easy to grow, but just make sure that you make as best conditions for it as are possible. Then the temperature, maybe. So obviously none of the Mexican ones, they don't survive the winter like we have outside. So basically they must not go below 0 degrees Celsius. Our 2 species obviously are winter hardy, a lot more also. They make a hibernaculum, so this is a little structure, a little bud to survive the winter. That's a different group. These guys, Mexican ones, temperature for them needs to be above freezing. So I keep the whole collection in the greenhouse. The greenhouse is heated, and it's heated through a thermostat. So what does this mean? This means that I set the lowest temperature on the thermostat. At this, when the thermometer hits this temperature, it will start heating the greenhouse. And the upper temperature, I also set what's like the maximum there. So if at any time during the winter's day, the thermometer reaches the high temperature for the greenhouse, it will switch off heating. You can rig your greenhouse that it cools off by opening windows or something. Unfortunately, I don't have that, or maybe fortunately, who knows, because some plants don't really like the cold air coming in. In any case, what I do have is this switching and switching off of temperature. And also the greenhouse, it's like made of 3 parts, and each one has a different temperature range inside. This one where we are now, this one has the lowest temperature set to 10 degrees Celsius, and the highest, if I remember correctly, to 25 or something like this. In general, really in general, plants don't really mind if it goes a bit above the highest temperature or something, plants in general, but just as long as it's not below their lower limit. That can really damage the tissues really fast. Like if the temperature is too high, yeah, they get stressed, they might not grow exactly well. Some of them might like die back a little bit or something, but they survive, they recover. It's not that much of a problem. But once your plant gets cold damage, then it's bye bye plant. Okay, I need to move the phone now to show you some stuff what we will do with this. We'll explore what to do with these leaves in part 2. For now, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Have a nice day and see you next time.